This is a Film Stories original podcast.
We made this!
Welcome back everyone to the X-Cast. The truth is in here. This is our special Fight the Future Minute podcast. I'm Tony Black. And you're listening to coverage of minute 113 of the X-Files Fight the Future. This minute begins at 1 hour 52 minutes precisely as Conrad Strughold tells the smoking man he looks hot and miserable, and ends on 1 hour 52 minutes and 59 seconds precisely with a telegram announcing the X-Files have been reopened. Woohoo! And to discuss this minute... Yay! And to discuss this minute, shouting "Yay X-Files" is fine. You know, this is what we're here for. And one of those yays is from my fellow X-Cast co-host Sarah Blair and producer, and the other one, the little chuckle there, is Carl Sweeney. Welcome back, guys.
Hey, hello. How's it going?
It's been so long since we've spoken.
It's been so long. I'm just sitting here boiling, you know,
hot and miserable,
hot and miserable.
Smoking.
Yeah. We have been, Carl, lately because we have just had a heat wave, as we mentioned, I think, in the last episode. So I think we've pretty much approximated Smoking Man over the last week or so.
Oh, definitely. But then we go online and we talk to people like Sarah, and she's like, "What are you talking about? That's not hot." And it's like, okay, Sarah.
Yeah.
Well, when it's 90, 94, 95 degrees, 98 degrees, feels like we have our. Do you guys have feels like your temperatures, or is
like
it
the wind chill factor?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Our weather apps never get it completely right, and they'll all be different. So, like, you could go on the Apple Weather app and the Met Office, as we got it here, and all these different things, and they will always be a degree off. So you never know, and then they'll, or sometimes they'll be completely wrong, and it will be like, I mean, I went out the other day. I went for like a walk around this lovely little property, and it was like I was getting heat stroke and like sunstroke or whatever. I was like, this is supposed to be raining. What's going on? So you just don't know.
I don't know what the name of it is, but it gives you weather forecast like it's fucking hot outside. That's your weather. Like that's it's fucking.
Does it actually
hot.
say that?
It's fucking raining.
That's
There's
brilliant.
a weather app. It's like, I think it's like the fucking weather, maybe.
Shocking.
I want that app.
The thing is, though, Sarah, like I fully accept that in the UK, because we're not accustomed to it, is the truth. So we get a bit of hot weather and we just go into meltdown, you know. But by the same token, I would like to invite you and go to the northeast of England in like October, you know. You'll go there, all the men will be walking around with no tops on, and I reckon you'd be absolutely freezing. So
yeah.
Oh, here we go. It's called What the Forecast.
And they'd all be going, "It's not cold, man. It's not cold."
Yeah. I need to make my own weather app. Be like, what are you talking about? It's not hot.
yeah.
Get back in the air conditioning. The aircon. Get back in the aircon.
And we don't have aircon. Well, that's the thing. We don't have aircon homes and stuff, really. So
yeah. That's how it was in California. They don't really have it in the north, NorCal, San Francisco area.
The thing is with aircon, it's kind of a cheat, I think, because you're kind of pretending that the weather is something it's not. I like to just kind of tough it out, you know.
Yeah, just go and sweat. You know,
Sit out in the garden and sweat it out.
Sit and sweat it out. Yeah. This isn't completely off topic because we are talking about weather, and you know, Conrad Strughold's to blame here because he mentions the weather. You know, he's the one who says you look hot and miserable. So you know, this is all on him. Our tangent, and it's a bit of a zinger of an introduction line, isn't it? Like a welcome. It's not like oh, it's good to see you. It's good to see you. Whatever your name is, CGB. But actually, he goes, "Oh, you look like shit." You know, basically. So yeah, charming fella.
Well, he's not wrong, but
he's not wrong.
But he's in there sweating up a storm too, so you know.
Well, you'd think, but this is the thing, right? What I get from this, and you know, you mentioning Belloc in Raiders, I think he's a good thing, Carl, because there's a link to this. I think he's got a very sort of old classical colonialist feel here because he's like this old white industrialist in the African desert. He's got all these local servants and workers. They're like natives. And he's there in his hat. And he looks like he could be from the 19th century, this guy.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I think he's not sweating buckets himself, because he's been here forever. You know, he's this colonial guy who's been here forever. And what do you think of that? Because I think that adds some fascinating sort of political undercurrent shades to him here.
Well, there's kind of a nice parallel, isn't there? Because the mythology is all about, you know, enslaving humanity, I guess. And it sort of ties into the idea of just kind of exploiting labour and all that kind of thing on this level too.
It's interesting. And also the fact that Strughold, you know, seems to suggest that it's weird that the Smoky Man's come and seen him. Because, you know, he says, we have regular channels. So I kept thinking, is this why we've never seen him in, like, well, aside from the fact that he hadn't been cast and they hadn't created the character before the movie, but if you look at it from the, you know, actual in-show sort of logic, is this why we've never seen him in New York with the others? You know, is it because we know his name, so presumably he's like this post-war industrialist figure who maybe has built up companies across the world, so Strughold Mining is well known. A bit like, I suppose, I can't think off the top of my head of a post-war equivalent, but there would be people who were well known. You know, I suppose maybe like, if you want to look at it, someone like a Henry Ford before the war, who was a well-known industrialist who had political leanings. You know, if he was part of the syndicate, say, he'd have to keep that quiet because everybody knows who he is. So is it you know, is that why, do you reckon it's weird that the Smoky Man's come here?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, like you say, it's like his name's on the mining company in Paperclip, isn't it, or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it could have some level of public profile, I suppose. I've always found it a bit, I don't know if jarring maybe is the word, in Fight the Future, how we're suddenly seeing like the London meeting of the syndicate and all that. Because we always see them in New York. I suppose what we've seen in the series, it's Anasazi, isn't it, where we see the international phone calls.
Yeah.
But generally, it's kind of much more limited in scope. And I get why it's done in the film, but it's a little odd then when you go into season 6 and it's back to, you get to the beginning and it's back to just the regular syndicate meeting as well, isn't it? You know what
I kept thinking, though? Is it because Strughold was coming to that one and he couldn't be asked to go all the way to New York? Because London's closer? That's what I wondered. Yeah. Be a lazy bugger. Just get a couple of flights. Like, you know, presumably, he said, I only want to get one flight. Tunis to London. That's it.
Well, wouldn't he have a private jet, though? Does it make a difference?
Well, there you go, surely.
He'd have to stop and refuel, I guess.
Wouldn't he want to make them come to him as kind of a power move? That's what I would do if I was the head of the syndicate. I'd be like, you know, you're coming here. You're coming to me. You know.
Maybe that's why he's got Cigarette Man coming.
But maybe they all went, I ain't going all that way. Or, it's bloody hot. You know, maybe they were just like...
See what?
all we wear is suits, black suits. You really want us to come over there and get Betty Swallocks?
I want to see that conversation. That's what I want.
Yeah,
that. Just them trying to argue the location of the next meeting.
Yeah.
It's funny seeing the Smoky Man still dressed formally, though, because like it reminds me of my granddad. Like, he would never take his tie off, you know.
Yeah.
He would always be dressed
always
kind
wear
of
that.
immaculately.
Where I live, we've got a guy who lives across the road. He's an Irish guy who's we reckon about 60, and he always wears a suit and tie. So even when we had the heat wave the other day, he was still in a suit. And he is a proper old school old man because he just wears a suit and tie all the time.
60 is not old, Tony.
Well, no, exactly.
We're almost there.
I mean,
we're more than halfway to 60.
It's true. It's true, that is.
Things have changed since my granddad's day. You know, like these days, I have no hesitation. I always take my tie off when it's hot. You know, it's just got to be done.
Yeah, definitely. Do you take off your trilby as well?
I think we should bring them back. We should bring back the trilbies.
Yeah.
We should. More men should wear hats, I think.
Yes.
I do think more men... Hats look good. Like, if you look at all the old 40s movies and stuff.
Well, anybody should wear hats. All people. They're classy.
Yeah, there's some good hats in... have you seen The Marvellous Mrs. Maisel?
Yes.
Not yet.
I'm obsessed with the hats in Marvellous Mrs. Maisel.
There's some good hats for women wearing that, 50s hats. You'd like that, Carl.
You got to see that show.
Good show.
Yeah. Okay.
So good.
Yeah, I would like to wear like a fedora. You know, like you were saying, like the old movies, like the old kind of private detectives or whatever. Those kind of hats. That's fun. You know, you can have a bit of individual style doing that. Yeah. Why don't we wear more hats, guys? What's going on?
We should.
It's the 20s again. We should bring it back.
Yeah.
The Roaring 20s. Yeah.
The Roaring 20s, apparently, yeah.
Economic suffering and...
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody.
The revolting 20s, more like it'll be.
It's not the part that we thought we were going to get.
Yeah, we thought it'd be like The Great Gatsby, but it's like an apocalypse instead.
Speaking of being fed up, Strughold's pretty fed up with the name Mulder in this, isn't he? Just to crowbar us back on topic.
Way to
He says,
bring it back around.
He says, oh, Mulder, that name, again and again. He's referencing Bill Mulder here, obviously, as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know, that whole frustration that he just, all through the years, this name has been a thorn in their side.
Yeah.
Is this the part where he gets the telegram? Because I have some things to say about that.
Well, he does, but before he sees the telegram, he tells... This was an interesting line where he says, well, what does he know? Of the whole, he's seen but pieces. And to me, this whole scene is, you know, Chris Carter, the whole marketing of this film had promised, the truth will be revealed. And to be fair, quite a lot is revealed. And even if you look at the bonus scene, which we haven't included with the well-manicured man, he tells him about Samantha as well. So, like, there's loads blown out here. But this feels like Chris Carter going, actually, like, we want to hedge our bets. There's more, guys. Don't worry. There's more mysteries, you know. And I don't even believe that after this film. Because really, within 12 episodes, they decide, sod the mythology, blow it all open. So this is it. This is pretty much it. So I don't know. I don't know what you guys think. I just think that's his way of going, no, it's not all over, because they know they're doing another series. But in reality, kind of is now.
I was thinking that earlier. I was thinking that, like, surely Mulder knows pretty much the fundamentals now, especially after what the well-manicured man said. So, yeah, I was thinking that. And it's that interesting thing, isn't it, where, like, Chris Carter, when the show was at its height, you know, when we were on, like, season 3, 4, and he would do these, like, online chats with fans and things. And, like, he was really good at, like, the teasing of fans at that time. You know, there's more to come. You'll find out more soon. And it felt like, when you watch the show, okay, he knows where it's going. This is all planned. It's kind of unspooling in a really nice way. And then that sense definitely goes away after Fight the Future to me, I think.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't like a lot of the mythology stuff, because I do. We'll talk about things like the Six Extinction trilogy and stuff in good time, but that sense of it being like a finely orchestrated master narrative kind of breaks down, I think, in the following years.
Yeah.
You've underplayed that nicely, Carl, there.
Yeah.
I think.
Right, especially when, oh my God, My Struggle 4 and stuff like that. And,
yeah.
It's funny.
It hurts.
But yeah, no, he knows the basics, don't you think? Like, he knows a pretty substantial amount at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He knows the colonisation. He knows about the EBEs. He knows all the stuff that they barely mention again.
Is
that
that why they barely mention it again? It's like, oh, we got to have some more mystery. We can't let Mulder know it all. We got to just make up some new stuff.
Yeah.
It feels like they get bored of stuff like the bees, doesn't it? Like, all this stuff with the domes at the end and the corn crops, and we don't really ever return to that iconography. I mean, I'm sure they're still there in theory, but we never really see them again, do we?
It's. I mean, like you say, I love where some of this mythology goes. You know, in the whole, you know, he's God and alien stuff, which they double down on, and that kind of thing. And even the super soldier mythology is a lot of fun in its own way, but they're not the same. It doesn't feel like it's all part of the whole. So, like, yeah, it's
until we get that clip show in The Truth where, it all makes sense.
Yeah,
okay,
it does all connect, guys.
Bored the hell out of me for an hour.
That one little bee did all that work for not a whole lot.
Here's what I want to talk about here, and I know Tony wants to talk about this too, but the line where Strughold says, "One man alone cannot fight the future," and correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, but I think you sort of think it's a nice way to get the film's title in there, don't you? That's what you think.
Yeah, it's a bit cheesy, I guess. You know, it's a bit like, and I always wonder what came first, chicken or the egg here. You know, did they write that line and go, "Oh, that's a good subtitle for the movie," or did they already have that and then they threw it in for Strughold at the end? So I don't quite know, but
what I was going to say is, and I don't know if we've talked about this on Fight the Future Minute yet, but is this film actually called Fight the Future? I would argue that it's not, because on screen, all you see are the words "The X-Files," don't you? And I think what you see on screen that should be canon. That's the title of the film. For instance, like when they repackaged the Indiana Jones films, and in the box sets now it says Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
That's not the name of the film. On screen, it says Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. That's bullshit.
Or, you know, you get sometimes interesting things like with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where it's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Oh, sorry, Once Upon a Time, ... in Hollywood on the screen. on the poster, the ellipsis is in a different place. And then sometimes it's referred to without an ellipsis. So I think you've got to go to what's on screen. So, yeah, Fight the Future is not called Fight the Future, I don't think.
So is it just the X-Files?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't say movie on it.
Just the X-Files.
Just the X-Files. So what's the show then? Or we
The
just
X-Files.
distinguish the It's all the X-Files.
It's just the X-Files.
It's just all the
I
X-Files.
tend to agree, but I'm just, punctuation matters.
So, but it's weird, though, because they on the poster, they put Fight the Future under the title. So it looks like it's the subtitle as opposed to being a tagline. Normally the tagline is at the top or the bottom, by the credits or whatever. So are they just trying to intentionally confuse us again here?
I think it's just a convenient way to refer to the film, isn't it? I think the fans latched onto it as Fight the Future.
Yeah, inveigle and obfuscate.
Yeah. Sarah, you are so right about the fact that punctuation matters, because I'm looking at a poster for the Hugh Grant, Sandra Bullock rom-com 2 Weeks Notice.
As you do.
And as
standard normal thing you do, Carl, every Sunday.
Yeah, it's that time of the week. But like that phrase, 2 weeks notice, that should have an apostrophe. But I'm looking at that poster. I don't see an apostrophe.
Punctuation matters, you guys.
I refuse to see the film on that basis. I'll never get further than the poster.
I think there's plenty of other reasons not to watch 28 Weeks Notice, Carl, but you found a good one there.
No, it's just 2 weeks notice.
2 weeks.
It's just two.
2 weeks notice.
28 days later. We're thinking about zombies now.
That's the zombie remake. 28 Weeks Notice.
Sandra Bullock would be all right in that.
That's the rom-com.
I'd watch that.
I suppose Bird Box was kind of...
Yeah. So, yes, Strughold's basically looking worried here. They look worried here when they're saying one man alone can't fight the future. There's a little bit of a suggestion that they don't quite believe it. So when you then get to the telegram saying about how the X-Files have been reopened, I don't know, I feel like part of the reason for this scene is that, yes, okay, Scully nearly died, they've not got any proof, all this, but in a way, Mulder and Scully get a victory at the end of this film.
Yeah.
So in some way, it's like a slightly hopeful ending.
Yeah.
Through this. I think that's quite a cool little thing to do.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I'm always a bit mad when we get to the beginning, though, and, okay, the X-Files have been reopened at the end of Fight the Future, but Mulder and Scully are not reassigned to them. I've always felt that was a bit, okay. Almost like it undermines the film a little bit. But I was wondering how a first-time viewer, because we've talked a lot on these podcasts about how, the hypothetical first-timers who came to see the X-Files film had never seen the series. I wonder if they would get the kind of impact of the X-Files being reopened, because they've never seen the X-Files unit in action, have they, really?
Yeah.
I mean, they've seen these characters now. I just wonder if that really would have meant much to them. I don't really know.
I feel like it's
true.
Impactful, like that it has weight to it, because you're like, ooh, and mystery, because if you don't know what the X-Files are, like, this must be important. He's walked all the way through these 10 pounds of sand to the desert, and he's all sweaty and hot to deliver this telegram, and so it must be important. It must be something big, and he's just, I think it's all the reactions of the actors.
But let's take those imaginary first-time viewers then, and they're so, enthralled by this film, they tune in for season 6, episode 1, the beginning. I think they might be a bit like, okay, so why are these characters, we've seen this big adventure. Why are they being sidelined now? What's going on?
That's exactly it. You're like, this is how the X-Files is, you guys.
Yeah.
Welcome to the fandom.
Yeah.
Nothing that you think is going to happen is actually going to happen. We're just going to switch things up whenever we feel like it. And there you go.
If Chris Carter can find a way to piss you all off, he will take it. 100%. But let's park it there. I know you've got something to talk about with the telegram, Sarah, but the telegram is still on screen in the next minute, we'll talk.
We'll get there.
We'll do that then. We'll do that then. That's a cliffhanger for you guys. So that's
Stay tuned.
yeah. Well, that wraps up our latest Fight the Future minute. Thank you, everyone. You guys are going to be back for actually technically the final minute, although it's not going to be the final episode of Fight the Future minute. We've got a little extra something at the end, but the last minute of the movie, technically before the credits, is as it comes to a close. We've nearly reached the end. This is exciting.
This is it, guys.
This is big stuff. I can't believe. I mean, it seems a long time ago now, doesn't it? This is what, minute 114 we're going to do next.
Yeah.
That's been a long old road, isn't it?
It's a long road, absolutely. So, yeah, until we get there, remember, as always, trust no one.
Elsewhere on We Made This. The giddy carousel of pop.
Got the lyrics for Love Changes Everything, Climby Fisher. Cav's pulling a face at that one.
That is a banger of a song, though. Are you not in agreement about this?
I think you can predict my answer.
Oh, come on. What is wrong with you two? When you make a mixtape for someone now,
Yeah.
do you put it on?
Oh, God, no.
What? Let me tell you, the ladies are going to dig it if you do.
Not the ladies I know.
Life's milestones.
All the way home one day from we were gone out for a Sunday afternoon. He told me I was going to have he was going to cook when we got back, and we were going to have bread and pullet.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard this joke, but all the way home, it's like, oh, it's delicious and blah blah blah. I was like, oh, I'm really looking forward to this. Really looking forward to this. And we got home. He took a loaf of bread out of the bread bin, put it in front of me. I was just sat at the table. He goes, just pull that towards you. And I grabbed it, pulled it, and goes, there you are. That's bread and pullet. I couldn't believe I'd fallen for a joke. This was like 2 hours of him telling me how great this was. Just things like that, and silly little things you remember. I find it's never like the big things, it's always the little.
Observing the Pattern, a Fringe podcast.
What's funny is when I watched this episode a couple weeks ago, the official Facebook page of Fringe posted a still picture from this episode with the caption, "Will Olivia get her memory back?" So that was just kind of a funny coincidence that this episode was referenced the same day that I watched it.
Spooky. Very spooky.
Very, very Fringe.
Check out all of these shows and more on the We Made This podcast network.